What's up, guys? Paul Wolf here, back here at the shop. We got 1018 Canam over here. Obviously up on jack stands, getting ready to start taking it apart next. Post-race video for this car. We actually raced it in 2 different races in PA. The first one being the Ultra4 race. I'll go ahead and start right into it. Well, to start the weekend off for pre-running, I ran out of fuel. So for those of you who keep up with us, I changed the fuel pump out after visions, thought it was a fuel pump problem. So I did put a new one in. I never checked the sending unit to make sure the fuel gauge was correct. And unloaded the car. It said I had over half a tank. And I was like, oh, we're good to go pre-run. Apparently the sending unit does not work in the car no more. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, funny story. So I ran out of fuel like 4 miles in, had to jog back 2 miles. It was a fun day. But anyways, we got the car all back lined out, race ready. Took off racing, we qualified okay. I think we were in the top 5 qualifying, and which I was happy with. We took off racing. First lap, I think we made it all the way to physically 2nd place. And we started, I think, 5th. So I was pretty happy with that. We come off the line and got around everybody all the way to physically up to 2nd, right behind Hunter Miller. I don't know if we were ahead of him on corrected time or not. I'm really not 100% sure there, but I know we were doing really well. And we continued moving forward, making great ground. And then on the 2nd lap, I actually got all the way physically to Hunter in what they call Kool-Aid. He was up on a rock winching. There was another guy winching next to him. I tried to go around them on the outside, but the guys had their winch cables up, and I didn't think it would be the right move of me to run over guys' winch cables to try to make a pass. So I just waited in line, let them winch up, come out behind them. Hunter winched up first, then the other guy, so it gave them a little bit of a buffer back between us as far as time-wise. And I tried to run him down. Got really close to running him down. We were in the rocks pretty much at the same time, not too far apart, and I started having issues with the rear wheel bearing come apart on the car. The wheel bearing went completely out to the point that the only thing holding everything together was the axle, and the axle nut was holding the wheel hub, everything on, and stopping it from being just a complete catastrophic failure. So I limped it back into the pit. We pulled the rear axle out of the car, and we pulled the hub off the car, put a new hub on, put a new axle in the car, ended up having to put a new, actually the knuckle and hub on the car, and ran it, went out on our 3rd lap. Again, I was probably pushing just way too hard. I was really trying to make up time. I felt like we had one of the fastest cars there. I just needed to get a good run put together, and I was pushing the car extremely hard. Felt like I was making up good ground, and I ended up getting the car in a bad position and hit some trees and stuff. And upon hitting all the trees, I ended up having a upper A-arm get bent and destroyed because I kind of wrecked the car / did wreck the car. I hit a bunch of stuff, was able to back up and keep racing, but I tore up the car in the process of doing it. And we ran it back, and by the time I got it back through all the rocks and stuff, the parts that we bent were breaking and failing, and we had stuff just getting destroyed, and I knew there was no point in going out on another lap. It would just end up destroying the car completely. So we called the race right there and just stopped, and it put us in 4th position for the day. So we ran enough laps to end up 4th. I really think we had one of the fastest cars there. Just wasn't quite able to show it all the way. So, well, we'll get it back together and get going, which actually we put it back together the next morning. Speaking of that, Sunday morning, we went back and we changed all the parts on the front of the car to what you see now, currently. And we actually just ran the car in the dark water race the way it was. We said the car was good. We changed everything over. Didn't change it, ran our shocks from our other A-arm setup. We just put all this stuff on here and raced it. And come out of the dark water, the way they do their drawing order, they draw out of a hat, and that's how you line up. So we were on the back row with Brian Stone. Me and him started side by side. Brian Stone is a cheater. He jumps you off the starting line. So if you ever race against him, make sure you just swerve into him right off the starting line, hit him. Hope you see this, Stone. Anyways, I was still able to get around him even though he jumped up the starting line. I passed him. We ended up passing all the way up to physically second place. Tyler Gibbs was the only car physically in front of me after the first lap. Ended up getting around Tyler, running a great race. We had a good lead, about a 2-minute lead. And if you guys have been to PA, there's a lot of rocks. And guys were kicking rocks down in the ruts that we were running through, a lot of single lane stuff. And come down through a rut, and there was a big rock about the size of a basketball. And I was able to dodge it with the front of the car, but the back of the car slid into it. And it smashed the rear tire, and it ended up flattening the tire and broke a rim, I think. It was just a real hard hit. I don't think it would have mattered what tire or rim combination I had, it would have failed. And so I had to get out, change it. Stone got physically around me. Tried to run him down, just ran out of time, ran out of laps. So we ended up second place. Great race to Brian Stone. He did a good job. Really happy with how everything went and how the car performed. I'm excited. It's definitely getting faster and faster this year. I know the beginning of the year we had a rough start, but I think we're making a heck of an improvement, and we'll be there and be ready to go. So I'm really excited on where we're heading with it. It's really making a lot of ground up now. So, all right, we're going to get to some questions. All right, questions. First one, are you coming back to PA and Lime Mountain for the 7-miler? Kind of the same thing I told a lot of guys up there is I like racing in PA. It's a lot of fun. I definitely would like to come back up there. My biggest thing is trying to make it budget friendly. My number one problem for racing places is just, can I make it financially work? We're not a huge team, so it costs a lot to run the toter home out to Pennsylvania and back to do some racing. I got to make it financially work. Going out there, it's pretty easy to burn almost $2,000 worth of fuel. So that's the biggest hindrance on me right now, is just trying to make it work. If I can make it work financially, I'll be more than happy to come out there. I love racing in the East Coast. I love racing with all the guys out there. They do a phenomenal job, and they're all fast and hard to beat. So we're going to try to make that work out. Another one is, it was awesome to see top dogs come to PA in our neck of the woods. Definitely wild to see you run and watch you and Stone pass me. That was, I don't know if that was a question so much, but I do have a question for you, is, do you have GoPro footage in this? I would like to we always try to collect content for our sponsors and stuff, so if you guys got footage of any of my cars racing, me racing, I'd be happy if I could get a hold of it and maybe share it or put it out or whatever. So please get a hold of me, Wolf Racing. Moving on through, 3 parts on your UTV you absolutely could not live without. Suspension by Alltech. They do a phenomenal job on the suspension on this car. I'd say HCR suspension, as far as A-arms and trailing arms, they build awesome parts. Man, this is hard to do because there's so many products I really need. The halo is phenomenally strong, and also the knuckles, the ZRP knuckles on the front of the car, holding the wheel bearings together. That's also another huge part that I really like to have. So there's a lot of good parts, RCV axles, everything on this car. The Evo Tune does great, and of course, the Canam, just in general, is a phenomenal car straight out of the box. So really happy with that. There's a lot of good parts here. Really can't complain. And I also answered another guy's question, what diff do you run? I run a Halo 30 in the front of the car with RCV axles, and pretty stout setup. It works really well. So cool, guys.